Hey everybody, welcome back to another Gravity Ace dev stream. Yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. I got some stuff to do. Say hi if you want to say hi. Lurk if you want to lurk. And feel free to interrupt me and talk about whatever you like. I'm happy to answer questions or talk about anything, and yeah, whatever you want to do. So I made this guy last time, and you can see the collision shape is all wrong. So I'm going to remake the collision shape right now. Doesn't need to be perfect. It can be pretty rough. So this is going to go quick and easy. I love quick and easy tasks. See here, I don't even need to really go in there. It doesn't matter. Same with here. You just need to kind of roughly patch it in. This is mostly used for like nothing collides with this in the game. So this is mostly used for just detecting when the player interacts with this in the editor. But you never know. I may turn on collisions for these things at some point, and so I'd want something that's close to realistic. But if a bullet went in here or in here, you're not going to really notice. That's fine. That's good enough. All right, that's really fine. Good. Sometimes I wonder if I have OCD. All right, that's fine. Good enough. All right. So, like I said, this collision is really only used for picking in the editor, moving it around, dragging it. So really, I could get away with a circle or something. That would be fine. But you never know. You never know. Hey, Valiant, how you doing? All right, this one is done. I think that's done. Hidden areas is still in review because I'm still trying to fix it. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Nothing to complain about, really. You know, other than the usual ongoing global pandemic. I saw your side project. Is that the Minesweeper, but you're digging up fossils? That looks cool. Bone Sweeper. That's a good name. That's a really good name. I'm laughing because it tickles me. That's a good name. I don't think... I would be surprised if that was taken by anybody. Oh! Oh no. For Android. Well, you know, proof that something's a good idea is that other people have thought of it as well. If nobody else, it's like a restaurant with no line, right? Restaurant with no line, you don't eat there. I think I'm going to try and tackle this one. This is a boring chore, I think. It's UI stuff, which is not my favorite. I'm not sure how I'm going to solve it. And I may end up making a bunch of work that doesn't actually move things forward in a tangible way. I may just go down, I may find out what doesn't work. And I don't like that. It's valuable, but I don't like finding out what doesn't work. I would rather everything works, but it's a chore and I can't put it off, so I'm just going to try it. I'm going to force myself to do it. How do I pick something that's below something else? Okay, it's this guy. It was an ice asteroid crystal thing. It was these things, I'll show you. Anything to procrastinate. It was these guys. So I had my regular old rocks, and now I got my icy rocks. Right. And I've got my icy walls as well. So I've got my regular red walls, but I've also got these icy walls. And I can put these icy rock props on them. Feeling pretty good about them. I like them. They look kind of good mixed together as well. Almost floral. Like a little frozen flower petals or something. Yeah, and they blend well with each other. Yeah, I'm happy with those. I'm not going to rework those. Those are fine. You're talking about when you say skeleton, do you mean the actual like skeleton for the rig and everything for animating it? I've never done that before. I've tried to do it a couple of times and failed, and I don't really understand what I'm doing, and it was very hard to do. How do these things interact? Because this thing doesn't set up its own data. As per usual, the first part of my setting up... Okay. The first part of my going in and doing some programming is to figure out what the heck... how the heck I did it in the first place. Triceratops. Oh, right. That's cool. That's cool. Dinosaurs are great. Did you hear the story? There was a story on NPR this week. An 8-year-old kid wrote in. You're from Australia, so maybe you didn't hear about this story, but I don't actually. Now that I think about it, I don't know if NPR is a U.S. thing or not. I think it is. Anyway, this kid wrote into NPR, and he's 8, and there's a news program called All Things Considered, and he wrote in and said, "You guys should call this News Things Considered because you never write about dinosaurs. It's not all things at all. Where are the dinosaur stories?" So they interviewed him and let him ask a bunch of questions about dinosaurs. Is that really all this does? It just loads an icon? And then how do I know what icon I pushed? Oh, it loads them in order. So it probably uses the index. Object dialog. Yeah, it uses an index. Oh, what a mess. So this works fine as long as everything's in a list and there's one thing per index. But if I want to create submenus, I have to rewrite all of this. And I think the correct way to write this would be for each one of the things on this needs to have some kind of data attached to it so I know which thing it is. And when it clicks, then the program will know which one I clicked on instead of just going by an index. Oh, did they? Yeah, that's a cute story. Kid had a point. You can't call it All Things Considered if you don't talk about all things. All right, so the way that this thing works is I load up for each one of these data items. This is a list of all the entities in my game. For each one, it just loads its icon. And it loads them one after another. So this one gets index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. And see, these are an array. So the index in the list is the same as the index in the array. And then when you select one, you get the index. It selects it. And then it just looks up the data, right, from that index and gets its resource. And I think what I'll need instead is to get that index's data and then use that to look up the array, because they won't be one-to-one anymore if I do submenus. So one quick question is, how do I do that? Does this thing have a data tag that you can add to each thing? Metadata, that's it. Sounds promising. So as I add these, I can give it the index of the array and store it as a data element, and then it can reference back to the array. So that is possible. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? Yeah, so that is possible, but I still want, I think, some kind of interaction where you click and it flies, a fly-out menu appears. Or do I? I could make this thing multiple columns. I don't know, I think that's going to get just unwieldy. I mean, it works. It's not so bad, actually. It kind of balances the screen out a little bit. And this would just get bigger and bigger. What is this? I don't know what that is. It's weird how it's not going all the way across. So it doesn't, like, size itself automatically. Kind of weird. Fixed column width. So, like, imagine you click here and a menu flew out. What kind of object would I use for that? Fly out. I'd probably use another item list, and it would go out sideways or vertically. Oh, I could use like a, what is it called? A grid container? Yeah. Could use one of these. And you know what? I'm more visual than this. I'm gonna just try and sketch something out. All right, let's see what we can sketch. And I shall sketch so that everyone can see. I shall do public sketching. Sketching in public. All right, so let me screenshot that. So what if I had like a enemies thing and it flew out like this, and in there was this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. So you go click, click. There'd be one for enemies. There'd be one for I don't know what you call these things. Crates, platforms, buttons, fuel station, maybe some kind of utility. I don't know. That's a bad name. I don't like that name. We've got all the enemies covered, right, by the enemies thing. Got utility stuff covered. And then we could have, well, maybe these would be under enemies as well, the lasers. And then you've got props. And that would cover rocks, buildings, space grass. Maybe some kind of rewards thing. And that would be coins and fuel. Seems like these would go into utility as well. Maybe dialogue and people. I don't know where this falls. Environment, maybe? Or hazards. Environmental hazards could cover that. And maybe that could cover lasers as well. These three could stay out. Maybe. This would go in hazards. So that would go away. Enemies, props, rewards, fuel, hazards. Hey Slacks, how you doing? I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to redo my my menus here a little bit in the editor. Hey Droopy, just in time. You hear that? S rank full. Droopy Music made all the music for the game, guys. You can go get the album on Bandcamp, on Spotify, on iTunes. It's everywhere. So enemies would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 things. Props would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 6 things. Rewards would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 things. Hazards would have 1. Unless I move the lasers in, it would just have 1. Oh no, it would have this as well. 2, and I could put the lasers in there. 3, 4. That would put 4 in here. Props would go down to 4. Or enemies would go down to 5. If I had hazards here. 5, 6, 6, 4. That's pretty well balanced. And then I've got dialogue, beacon, exit, arrows. Maybe I do need some kind of utility menu. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would have like 6 things in it. Maybe 6 or 7 things in it. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top level things, and then it would fly out. So then that kind of takes the problem the other direction, because now my toolbar only has a very few things in it. It would have just 5 things in it. What if I only did, maybe I don't need to do this for every menu. Maybe I just need to do this for props and enemies. Leave everything else out. Oops. So like imagine this. If I had this. And it just had enemies, props, utilities, hazards, and rewards. That's kind of a lame toolbar. How do some other games handle this? Game UI? There's a website that has is these, I think. Oh yeah, let's see. Kerbal, huh? Hey. Hey, Albert. Thank you for the subscribe. 3 months, man. Woo! Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. Kerbal Space Program. I actually have that game. I haven't played it in years. Yeah, so here, okay, so this is kind of what I was thinking, right? You click on a top level menu, you can get like a flyout of other things. They have way more components than I do. They've also got a scroll bar. I mean, that's the other thing I could do. I could just add a scroll bar. And I can compensate a little bit for the few number of items just by making them bigger, right? Slacks. Slacks with the gift. Thank you very much, Slacks. All right, so like if I made, maybe if I made these bigger, right? So imagine something more like, oops. Something like this. And then much bigger top level. Everything I have in the game would fit into that top level, and then it would fly out into another menu. Right, with all the smaller stuff in it. Then this would never grow. And this I could make bigger or smaller as needed, depending on how many things were in it. And it would be, you know, more like that, right? Be kind of maybe even something like that. Or like this even. Because if I just did one row, then pretty quickly I would run into the same problem as I have now, which is I'd run out of room. So I need to go vertically. So this makes sense. This makes some sense. I don't know if I like the look of it. This is a no. I could do bigger icons, which would be cool. You'd be like a little arrow or something to show you that it's active, and then you see the submenu with all the stuff in it. And I could just group things together. That would be pretty easy, I think. Let's see what else we got. What other ideas do we have that I could steal? You know what I used to have is I used to have just a keyboard button you would push and it would pop up a dialogue, just a big dialogue like this with a scroll bar, and you could just scroll through it and see all the different things. So another way I could go is to do that with like a tabbed interface. So this, in that case, this toolbar would go away. Where's my drawing? So in that case, this would actually go away. Right? And then you'd push a button and you get something like this with like different tabs. Right, that's our selected tab, and then you get all the different choices inside. And potentially a scroll bar. Right. This tab selected. And I could fit everything into these 5 tabs. Scroll as new things get added. I hate scroll bars. Like, what if the item you want to add is way down here? You have to hit the key. Maybe there's a button. Hit the button. See this pop up. Scroll. Hit the tab. Scroll. Find the item. Click it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you have the item you want to add. Pop, 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 pop. You can place it as many times as you like. But you're going to be jumping back and forth. Maybe that would be okay. Maybe that would be okay, and I could replace the toolbar with like a list of recent things that you've messed around with. Maybe. What else we got? List of reasons is a good idea. Right? Like this interface, right? Bop, 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 bop. So this would be enemies, props, ba 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 ba. Have the different things. There's an opportunity to add a description for each one or a blow up of each one. That could be kind of cool. All right, here's another tabbed interface. This is pretty common for inventory, it looks like. It's a multi-row of tabs. Could do like a 2-level side toolbar where I had something like this, and then when you selected one, right, so that would be initially empty, and then you'd select one, so you got this and this and this and this and this, and then when you select one, then you get this and this and this and this and this and this. And this could expand, you know, horizontally as I added more. That could be nice and compact with no need for a scroll bar. So it's just the tabbed idea, really, but turned sideways. I kind of like that. I do kind of like that. Because this feels more balanced to me on the screen. It's still a little heavy on the right, but this feels more balanced. And I've noticed on, you know, from seeing people play on a laptop, some laptop screens are pretty short. Like the resolution's like 768 or something, and so you lose some real estate here. Like you lose like that much. So as much as I can keep above, like my safe area is only like here. Something like that. I think I'm going to try the tabbed idea. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Maybe something will speak to me. Here's more tabs. I kind of like this though. You know, because you can get, when you pick one, you can kind of see a description of it, which is kind of nice. Like this. Where was that first one? Right? Something like this is nice because you get this, you get a little description. And it allows me to put some text in here that, you know, adds some flavor to each item. Maybe even put in some story a little bit. Like one of the things I really like about this, I've been playing Scourgebringer, and, well, let me just show you. I love this game. It's what I needed. It's what I'd hoped Enter the Gungeon would be, actually. Would be a replacement for, what do you call it? Nuclear Throne. I love Nuclear Throne. I have hundreds of hours in Nuclear Throne. And Enter the Gungeon was good. I like that game, but it feels much slower. It's much more, I don't know, it just didn't feel as, it felt sluggish to me compared to Nuclear Throne. It just wasn't as exciting. This game is basically Nuclear Throne, but sideways instead of top down. And there's jumping. But so look at this, right? You've got, so here's your tabs, essentially, folders, right? And within each one, you've got your list of things. There's a little scroll, right? And when you click one, you get some information about it. So this would be kind of nice that I could show like a line of text like this about each thing. Little tips maybe for each thing. God, I look at this game and I think, I thought my game was pretty juicy, but this game makes me think I need to go back and start over. I'm just going to play real quick just so you guys can see how juicy this game is. Yeah, all the grass. Like when he does this ground pound, watch all the grass. Oh, I love it. I kind of bought this game because I was never a huge fan of platformers, and this game is not like, you know, Super Mario or anything, but it is a platformer. It has jumping, it's got platforms, and, you know, the jumping part is kind of a con for me, actually. It's a little tedious. I kind of prefer the top-down, but I'm getting used to it. The game is so fun. I'm kind of coming around to it a little bit. Look at this. Watch this. Ugh. Everything's moving. Everything bounces. Gosh, doing really well, actually. I don't normally play it this well. This is the game I would have wanted to make as a successor to Nuclear Throne. But now after playing this, I kind of feel like I don't have to. It's nice. Oh. All right, that's enough of that. Look at that, even the menu. So this is, I mean, this makes me think I need to redo my menu. It's gorgeous. Look at these guys. Congratulations, Flying Oak Games. Maybe this is why I can't make a game this good. Look how many people are here. All right. Level select, item selection maybe? Object placement. This is similar, right? I could have something like this, right? And you click one of these and you get the flyout. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try, yeah, let's do this. I'm going to create some top level categories and then have a little flyout menu for each one. All right, decided. Yeah, Scourgebringer, amazing. Feels really good to slash and hit enemies. Makes you feel really powerful and good. My fingertips hurt a little bit. I'm pushing the controls too hard, which is bad for me, but kudos to the game for making me do that. Really get into it, you know? All right. So, I think I decided. So how to implement it. Let's start with what we have. Let's start with the data, because I think I still want it to be data driven, so that I'm not constantly fiddling with the UI stuff over here. But maybe I should. I don't know. Let's just start simple. So in the editor, I have this data for all my things, and I don't think. Well, do I want multiple entity lists? A couple ways I could go. I could put some data in here, like category, right? Call this utility stuff, right? Oh man, why is my computer bogged down right now? Did I ever experience imposter syndrome? If yes, how do you deal with it? I struggle a lot, especially when I see other devs and I see my own games. Yes? kind of feel like imposter syndrome's a bad name. Because you're not an imposter. You feel like one, but I think it's normal. If you're a smart person, then you are aware of what other people are doing and other things in the world besides the stuff that you're working on. And people often, you have taste. I'm sure you have good taste. And when you have good taste, you can tell when something is good. You look at it and you go, that's good. I like that. But if you can't make that thing, you kind of feel like, what am I doing? Yeah, you got to have some self-esteem. That's a good point. I mean, imposter syndrome. Sometimes I'll be working on something and feel like, like I'll be programming something and be like, I'm terrible at this. What am I even thinking? I can't program. Or whatever. The only thing, I mean, it's a tough question. There's no one answer, I don't think. You have to just trust yourself. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people so much. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you think you're an imposter or not doesn't matter. You either make the thing or you don't make the thing. I mean, I don't know. One thing I try to remind myself is that players don't care. Players don't care about your feelings. They don't care about how hard it was to program. They don't care about your imposter syndrome. They don't care about that a thing took 10 hours to make or 5 minutes to make. They just care if it's fun to play. A lot of times they don't even care if it looks good or sounds good. I mean, there's plenty of games on Steam that are, maybe less good looking than other games. But I mean, like take Among Us, for example. It's not the best looking game in the world, but nobody cares. And maybe those guys have imposter syndrome about like, what am I even doing? Why am I making games? But the players don't care. I don't know. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't have imposter syndrome. And what I try to do is just ignore it and just get on with my life and trying to make the game. Just try not to compare yourself to other people. There's always somebody better. There's always somebody better. It doesn't matter. So let's see, I could do this, right? And then scan through the list, get all the categories. Or I could do this. Or what? I could do something like this. Right? Could do something like that. And utility and what? Props, right? Something like that. I kind of like this structure better just because it's easier to rearrange things later. Wow, man, that's deep. The most intrinsically valuable and unique property of anything you make is that you made it. Yes. You can be proud of something that you made, even if you can see its flaws or you think other people could make the same thing better. Yeah, I agree with that. Doing the thing is its own reward. Can I do this as an array? I could, but then I lose the named key. I wonder what order you get keys in. How is the dictionary implemented? They preserve the insertion order when adding elements. Okay, that's good. So yeah, let's do that. So let's call this... Oh, crap. But then... Oh, that does make things a little more difficult. Nah, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. All right, I'm going to break some stuff. And then we'll go props. And we'll go enemies. And we'll go hazards. And we'll go rewards. And we'll go core. Right? And then I can just start putting stuff in here. So, player spawn is a core thing. And the generator and the generator platform. Essential, right? Let's take you out, because I never implemented you, really. Fuel station, cargo box... Well, fuel station is some kind of a reward, maybe. Laser gates and rotating laser gates are definitely hazards. These guys are all enemies. This is a hazard. Got my props. Person, pickups, fuel pods. Here. Gravity well is a hazard. Cargo box, cargo platform, and button. What are those? Let's put them in here for now. This is turning into my sort of catch-all for things that I don't know where else to put them. Arrows are kind of a prop. Because they don't really do anything. Yeah, this is looking okay. Yeah, be kind to yourself. Everybody should be kind to yourself. You deserve it. Okay, so this code's already going to break. I can't run the game right now. It won't work. Watch. Let's see what happens. Conk. I'm thinking I don't need... any data about each of these things. So this would be core 0, core 1, core 2, core 3, core 4, core 5. Props 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus every one has a unique ID. I could store the ID and then just iterate through the list to find the right ID. Or I could store the ID as data. Maybe I should make these two lists. I could have one thing be just the list of things and another list be the categories with the things that are supposed to be in it. How am I going to build this menu? Core props, enemies, hazards, rewards. Makes sense to me. This is kind of the order that you build the levels. So let's see, if you're iterating through the list of things, how are you going to find one of these? You'd have to iterate the keys and then iterate the array within the key until you found the one with the right ID that you wanted, and then get all of its data. Or I could do something more like this. Right? So then it would be something like entity list, core player spawn, which is okay. And I think I could even do core.player spawn. No, I can't because there's a hyphen. Still, that first one's okay. So that would give me fast random access to any one of these. I think I still need to build this part manually. So in here, Vevin, thank you for the follow. You just woke me up from my deep concentration. I'm thinking I would need something like a texture button. Oops. Right, have like a couple of these, right? And then when you clicked one, it would make this appear or make a new thing appear. But then each one of these, I would say, I would have to attach it basically to one of these. So I'd have a core one, give it an icon, a props one, give it an icon, enemies one, give it an icon. And then in here, right, when you clicked it, because each one of these has a pressed, then it would show a grid container, and the grid container would get populated with these. And when it's populating each of those in the list, it would iterate through the keys. Actually, this wouldn't be necessary anymore. It wouldn't be an array. Right, I could do it like that. We're getting somewhere, maybe. Stop. There. That actually is pretty clean. So I'd tell it, here's the core button. The button would go and get these, iterate the keys, which it would get in insertion order, because the documentation says that insertion order is preserved in a dictionary. And then generate that grid list from these, and then when you clicked one, it would know I could actually store all of this data in the grid list. No, I would just store this and this in the grid list. Fish Toad, welcome. Oh, Vivian, you don't need to say sorry. You should have seen me last. It was a couple of streams ago. I was doing something. I was deep in concentration, and then somebody did a subscribe or a follow or something. It scared the crap out of me. I just jumped. I was not expecting it. It's fine. You guys got to remind me every once in a while that you're there. So how would the button know that it's been clicked? It would have to know... It would have to pass back both of these. Core... No, it wouldn't. Well, it would be easier if it did. It would have to pass back this key and this key. It could just pass back the one key, and I could just iterate the list and find it. It'd be really fast. It'd be fine. Let's go with this data structure. I kind of just like it. I like the way it looks. Now I'm waking you guys up with all these explosions. Pedagoric. Just switched game engine from Construct to Godot for my side scroller. Ended up watching all of your devlogs on YouTube while I was coding. Cool stuff. Thank you. That's a lot. You watched a lot of devlogs. I appreciate it. I've been working on it too long. I have a day job. So I think when I started this game, I didn't have a day job, and that was like early 2018. And at that time, I mean, I was working from home. I was a self-employed contractor doing contract programming. So I had a lot of free time. So 2018 is when I started it, and I ended up making a prototype early in the year, and then stopped working on it until about August, September, something like that. And then picked it up end of 2018. Then I got a day job in February of 2019, which slowed down things considerably, as you can imagine. And then 2020, the world went insane, and that slowed me down. There were, I mean, in 2020, that whole first half of 2020 was lost. I didn't do anything. A lot of pressure, a lot of stress. And then, yeah, things are just kind of slow going. So about 3 years, but who's counting? All right, so I like this data structure. Oh, thanks, Fish toad. Typing animation is excellent. If you want the typing animation, install this. Download. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. I want this to be a, what am I going to call this? Category button. Let's call this core category. Let's be specific. And actually, ooh, let's add a, I'm going to screw this up now. Let's add a node. No, let's add a control. And we'll make this the new root. Aha. All right. Delete you. And this will be my object dialog. And I'm going to take this script off of here. So I'm kind of re-object orienting this thing. And I'm going to put the script here, right? But now this script is going to be wrong because this is a control and it was on this item list. So I'm going to change it to control. And then all this is going to have to get like rewritten. I don't even know if I'm going to end up using this. Yeah, I have a feeling this is all actually going to go away. So then I've got my category, and I think, how do I attach data to this? I think this is going to need to be its own child scene. So let's make this how do I change, move, duplicate, make, save branches scene. All right. Editor. We'll call this category button. All right. So now this is its own scene. And then in here, I give it a script category button, right? And then I can give it a whatever data I want. So I can do a export category string. Is it like that? Yeah. So now over here, when I'm on this thing, I have a category, right? And it's a string, and I can type whatever I want into it. I'll call it a category button. Okay, so now I've got my category button. And I'll call that one core category. And let's create some just placeholder icons real quick. I want these to be kind of big, so let's do 32 by 32. And we'll just call this one 1. And we'll save it. Yeah. Category. Core. And 2. Enemy. And 3. And 4. And 5. What was 5? Core, props, enemies, hazards. All right. So I've got some nice placeholder art. And here I can say my core category will get this icon. Right? And I'll duplicate that, and I'll call this my hazard category. And now I'll get this one. And this one will be my enemies category. And it will get this one. And this will be my props category. And you will get that one. And core, hazard, enemies, props, rewards. And you will get this one. Okay, now I can just see them. And this one will get category core, category hazard, core, props, enemies, hazards, rewards. They're all plural except this one. It's fine. Hazards, enemies, props. I find that making a rule about a thing, like they're all plural or they're not, they're all nouns or they're not, they're all verbs or they're not, helps you remember how to do it. So the fact that I have one that's not plural and the rest are plural is just has bad code smell for me. Day job as a front-end engineer. Yeah, doing your best to push your side project forward. Just, you know, a little bit of progress at a time. That's all it takes. If you can put in an hour a week or an hour a month, whatever it turns out to be, you're making progress. And assuming your game doesn't take infinite time, you will finish at some point. You just got to make steady, not even steady, but just progress over time. Doesn't matter how much, and you'll get there. Core, hazards, enemies, see that? Props, and rewards. All right. So then each of these will have a, they have a pressed, and it can call pressed on this guy. Right? Core category pressed. Core hazards pressed. Enemies pressed. Props pressed. Did I get this one? Kind of don't like the repetition, but it's okay. It's okay. It is more of a marathon for sure. No 0 day. Oh God, I have so many 0 days. Use GarageBand. Music theory, yeah. I've been trying to learn a little music theory. Music theory is neat because it doesn't necessarily tell you how you're supposed to make music, but it lets you, when you are playing something or you're trying to play something, it gives you names for the thing that you're trying to do. So you can tell other people about it, or you can communicate with other people about the thing that you're trying to do. And like sometimes I'll play a cool chord on my guitar and I'm like, I have no idea what that was. I don't know what to call it. I don't know anything about it. And so I can't write it down. I can't remember it. I have to take a video of it or something. And it would be nice to know the name. There's a neat music app that came across my desk recently. Let's see. I haven't tried this yet, but I watched the video. It looks pretty cool. Let me turn off my music real quick so we can hear it. And one of the cool things about this thing here it is, 1-Bit Dragon. One of the cool things about this software is that it kind of simplifies a lot of the music creation process. You know, just to make it easier, like, well, I'll just show you. So it's got like a drum track down here, it's got a bunch of built-in instruments, and you kind of just draw your music. Kind of neat. Is it this one? There was one in here. There was a video in here that was showing how they use it, how it works. Here's this one. So you pick kind of a scale, and so it's already, by picking a scale, you're already saying, helping the thing generate like lead lines and bass lines for you, right? And you pick an instrument, and then you can start drawing in there with that instrument. And you see, I mean, these are notes in this scale, but you don't need to know what they are. You're just drawing the music. And then look, it automatically put in a beat for you. Look at it, see, it already did that for you. And it can do that because it knows the scale that you're working in already. So pretty simple, but you can get some results fast. It might be a neat app, even if you're not going to use this for your final music. It's kind of a neat app for sketching out ideas. Anyway, 1-Bit Dragon. I'll post a link. I use Traction Waveform myself. This guy. And, you know, no reason really, except that I like the way it looks and I like the way it works. And it kind of meshed with me, with my way of thinking about music. I do all my sound effects in it, right? And I was doing music in it before I got Droopy Music. I hired Droopy Music to do my music for me. That was easier for me. But, you know, I've got some... So this is a full-on DAW. Instruments, tracks, you know, effects, the whole deal. Samples, MIDI, everything. It's a lot. They make a free version, though, too, called Well, you have to just check them out. I can't remember what it's called. It's traction free? Waveform free. So they have a unlimited free trial. Kind of cool. And there's lots of them. GarageBand's free. There's one called Ardor that's free. Another thing you can do too is just, buy music. There's tons of free music you can download as well. All right, where were we? Slacks with the gift again. 11 gift subs. You're awesome, dude. All right, so I've got my categories, and when you click one, how is this script going to know which one you clicked? I don't know. It would have to be like core category dot category, right? It would be better if I had a signal here. Can I override? I can't. Signal already exists, right? Yeah. That's fine. Like I said, my strategy when I'm coding this stuff and just kind of exploring how things are going to work is to not worry about inefficient code or anything. Just try and get it working first. And then once it's working, then I'll make it pretty, or refactoring, as the programmers like to say. And then if needed, optimize it. Make it pretty? No. Make it work, then make it pretty, then make it fast. Those are the priorities. So I'm at the making it work phase, so I'm not going to worry about the ugliness here. So I would do something like open dialogue. Something like that is what I would do. And this would be hazard. And this one would be props. And this one would be enemies. And this one would be rewards. Because, and the reason I do that, right? Like, make it work, make it pretty, make it fast in that order, is because the making it work phase, I may get through this and decide, you know what, I don't like any of this, the way this works. I'm going to start over. So there's no point in wasting all that time on architecting a perfect solution if I'm just going to delete it later. Right? So I can do print category. Like that. Does the error go away? There it goes. Okay. So let's go in here and let's do this, because this is broken. And let's run the editor. Can't. Let's run the game and go into the editor. Let's just see if we can get the editor to load. Let's comment that. All right, let's oy. I'm gonna have to fix something before I can do this. I need to fix this. So let's just go ahead and fix this to work with my new data structure first. So first, for category in entity list.keys, and then for data in category.keys, and then if entity ID, if the entity ID, which is the key, equals the key that was passed in, then I want entity list category entity ID. See how far we get now. In base string. Oh. Let's do entity list category. Right. Argument went from dictionary to string. Is that right? Because each one of these has a resource string, yeah. Hey, look at that. All right, so as I click these, it should be printing out something, right? Core. Let's make this up. Beep. Props, rewards, hazards, core. All right, and see this loaded. This is one of my entities, the player spawn point. So I know that the load entity function is working. Okay. So 32 by 32, just seeing it on the screen here, I can tell it's too small. I want 64 by 64 icons for these. Let's make a to-do, a to-note. And create 64 by 64 category icons. So they're too small right now, but it's fine. And my load entity, even though it is not super efficient, I use this pattern all over the place where I just give it a key, right? A key. And by leaving it this way and just doing this double loop, I don't need to change this API. So all the code that calls this still works. And that's worth more to me than trying to rewrite this in a more efficient way. But changing this to be like category, kind of ID, something like that. It doesn't really get me much. This probably takes a couple of microseconds. And performance isn't critical anyway. It's not like this is live gameplay, right? You're clicking on something, it spends half a millisecond finding it, and then boom, you wouldn't even notice. Yeah, exactly. Shuhan, welcome, and thank you for following. We're rewriting menu code right now. My favorite thing. UI work. Sometimes it's fun, but usually not. Not for me. It's not my favorite activity. All right, I probably want to... Let's go ahead and put this in a VBox. Like, oops, like this. And we'll take this and do left wide. How do I make this grow? Maybe left center? Oh, it's because this isn't full rect, that's why. Let's do this left wide. Yeah. And then this can be also left wide. And I can center. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. And then I can rearrange these things just by doing that. And I don't have to fiddle with this stuff. All right, so then when one of those gets clicked, I know about it. So this can do something. And the thing that this needs to do is show the grid container and then iterate the entities and add an icon for each one. So, as predicted, this is going to go away. And we're going to add a grid container. And I'm going to call this the entity list. And I'm going to give it 6, say. And let's give it a size, and we will center it. Center it. Why the heck are you doing that? Oh. Because I'm centering it in this. Let's go full rect. And I just need to be careful that this doesn't respond to any mouse things. So I want to pass mouse events. Yeah. And then this can be center. Yeah. All right. And then I probably want to give it a... Do we not have a theme here? Let's load our theme. How come I can still not? Does grid? Oh, you know what? It probably needs like a panel background or something. Let's see. Let's add a panel. Put the entity list inside of it. make this be a size and center it. And then this can be full rect inside that panel. Or should I do it the other way? No, I can't do it the other way. Can't do it the other way. The dev world is hard. Yes. Can't stand to watch me torture myself with UI work. It's true, though. Let's call this the any panel. We'll call this the grid container. So I have my entity. Well, yeah, let's do that. So then I can hide my entity list, right? Yes, yes, yes. And I have a feeling there's going to be some kind of issue with focus here. When you click someplace else, let's see. Like when you click someplace else, I want this to hide. I don't know. I'll deal with that in a minute. Maybe I want this entity list to be a separate component as well. So I want to do entitylist.show, and that implies that when the thing first appears, I'm going to hide it, show it, and then for entity ID in how do I get the reference back to the parent object? I have it here. Entity list category dot keys. Well, that's ugly. That is ugly. And then I would do grid container and grid container just takes children and puts them there. Maybe it's not a grid container. Maybe it's a... Maybe it should be something else. Where are they? do this. List of selectable items and or icons in a single column or optionally in multiple columns. Let's go full rect and tell it I want 6 columns and okay, and then I can say item list dot add icon item, and the icon item would be I need a texture. So it would be like a copy of this code almost that I commented out. Okay, okay, I see how that works. So I would load the icon. And the icon is just a string, which is the entity list category entity ID icon. Let's abbreviate this. Like that. And does this return an index? No. Is there a clear? There's no way to reset this thing? Oh, clear. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Why wasn't... Oh, because I want item list dot clear. All right. And then I want a variable index equals 0, index like that, and then I can do item list dot add item list dot add meta set meta. Come on, there was a metadata thing. Set item metadata. Set item metadata index entity ID, right? And then on here, I have a item selected. And that, so this will add all the icons and add the entity ID as metadata. And then this will say entity ID equals item list dot get metadata for that index that's passed in, right? And then it would entity list.hide. Yeah. And then it would, let's do a signal. It would emit item selected with the entity ID. Okay, let's delete all this. Mouse exited, hide, label. Okay. Yeah, delete all that. And I'm not worried about deleting stuff because it's all in my source control. I can get back to it anytime I need to. And then here in the editor, so I don't need this. Here in the editor, I can connect to that item selected signal. Which already exists, right? And it passed an index, but instead, I'm going to have it pass the entity ID, right? That's the data that it's passing. This isn't going to work. All right. Let's change this to ID. Any ID. I think I need a helper function here. It would be something like, what line is this, 1905? It would be something like load entity, right? It's got to do this. But it's going to be find entity. And then it would just return. It would return that. Or, yeah. Right? So I've got this find entity function now. I give it an ID, sets the default to null, tries to find it, sets the entity to the dictionary for that entity if it can, and then returns whatever it found or didn't find. And this could be replaced with entity. ID. Ah. If entity. Ah. Oh, already defined. Okay, perfect. So entity is null. If resource is null, then find that. Okay. So this all works the same. And this would be entity, like that. Okay. So then this would be find entity ID, and then if entity, then I'll do this stuff. And resource equals entity resource. All right. Let's see if it works. Find entity already exists. That's what I was worried about. All right. Find entity. I have 2 of them. What does the second one do? So this actually finds the node in the tree here. All right. So this one needs to have a different name. I'm going to call it a get entity by ID. No. Get entity data. Get entity data. I already have a get entity data. Ah! Get entity definition. What does this one do? Oh, this is actually exactly what I want. I already have this method. All right. I do want it. Okay, so let's leave that. I just need to make this a little bit more complicated. Yeah. Okay. So I already had a method that did what I wanted. I would have found that eventually. Okay, so this would be get entity data. And then I want to change this method, this to ID, right? And then I'm going to see a bunch of errors here. Last object created ID. Right, so that would be ID. Right. And this would be this is going to have to do a find. I'm assuming here that this is always going to return something valid. It should, because they've just clicked something. This should never not be valid. All right, no more errors. Let's see what we got. Category. Invalid get index category on base null. Yeah, these references are all wrong now. This is why this had a bad smell for me before, because having to rewrite this stuff every time I change the tree structure over here is terrible. Repeating all this is terrible. I need to come up with a different solution for that, but that'll be later. Look at that. Here's my core stuff, my rewards, my enemies, my props, and my hazards. Okay, and if I click one, oh, it didn't work. I lost it. All right, why is that happening? It's weird. That is acting weird. Okay. So this ghost that's talking about is the right, when you select one, it tries to make a ghost. It created the right one. It added it. It should change it to be the global mouse position, but it's not. Trying to figure out what's going on here. It only updates the position when my keyboard gets pressed. Editor, inspector, create ghost has an object, and it's the object that we want. It's that rock, and it's got the shader on it. Doesn't have the shader on it. Oh, it's on the sprite inside. That's fine. So it's here. This has the shader on it. Yeah. The editor node. The heck is it? The editor node has the ghost object. Create rotation, create position. Where is it? Create position is right there. Continue. So the create position is not getting updated except for when I touch the keyboard. Okay, something's going on there. Could be a bug here. It's kind of a problem here where it's trying to get this entity data every frame. Let's see what's happening here. How come it's not getting in there? Okay, so it's going, let's step through. Changing that. And it goes here. Yes, yes. But now it's not doing it. I think this could be because that overlay is not passing the mouse events. Let's see. If we change this, see, this is covering the whole screen. It should be passing the mouse. Let's do that. Oops. Let's see if this makes the problem go away. There is a dog. I have a dog. And then there's also a dog who lives behind me, my neighbor's dog. All right, that's still having the problem. It's not doing the right thing. We're so close to getting this to work. before I put any more work into this, I should see if I like this interaction at all. So you're here in your editor, you pick one of these, bop, shows you, and you have to move the mouse way over here. Bop, bop. Yeah, I kind of don't like this because the toolbar is way over here on the left. You click it and then you have to move the mouse way over here to the right. And you click on something else. It'd be better if it was all together. And I think maybe what I need to do is, yeah, maybe this isn't working. I mean, it's obviously not working, but just this whole idea of, so you've got this big 1920 by 1080 screen, you click here, and then you have to go way over here, you know, to put something in the game, and then you go way back here, grab something else. Oh, look, it works over here. Yeah, there's something interfering over here with the mouse input. One of those nodes I put in the game is blocking the mouse from filtering down to the actual editor, but it works over here. So something invisible covering the screen here. But you click this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like it better to have a button up here on the toolbar that says Add Item. Click Add Item, or the hotkey for adding an item, which might be spacebar. Add the item, and then this pops up, and it has tabs at the top. And you can click through the tabs. Click through the tabs. Yeah, that makes better sense because you're going to tend to be working in the middle of the screen. Okay, let me open a level. So you'll tend to be working somewhere, you know, looking at something in the center of your view, right? Like you'll center your view. And you'll like want to add something here. So then you'll hit the hotkey and your mouse will be here and the dialog will appear. So it'll be really close. You'll pick the thing and then you can just plunk it down right there. So you'll be able to hit the hotkey and then select the tab you want. I think that's going to work better. And then I can make that whole dialog be modal, so it can appear. You can hit escape to make it go away, but then just kill it when it's gone. So I won't have any weird UI covering the screen. It'll be more like a traditional dialog box instead of this two-part dialog box where you have a toolbar and then the dialog box. It'll just be open the dialog box and everything will be there. It'll have the tabs, the entities, and like a little info box on the side of it. Right? Something more like this. Something more like this. Yay, Vim. Right, so it'll be more like dialog box, info, right, with like a big picture, text, different things you can select, maybe. And then tabs. So you'll hit space and that'll appear. And as you mouse over these, this will change. And when you click one, this will just go away and you'll have it. And then you can put it down. Or put down 10 of them. And then add, select a different tab, select a different item. Yeah, and this will be a big icon. And these will be the small, these will be the icons, and this will be the actual thing. With some tips for how you deal with it or what it does. This toolbar would go away completely. Yeah, so your mouse cursor, right? When it's hovered over one, would show the icon or the full size. A little bit of flavor text. And you've already selected a tab, or you can pick a different tab. Then I don't even need these icons that I drew or starting to draw. This would just be text, 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 text. Yeah, this will be easier all around, I think. And I think it'll look nicer. And you won't have to be like clicking way over here and then click way over here and then do your thing. It'll just be hotkey, click, done. This could have a scroll bar. But we'll see. I may not need one. May not need one because these icons are pretty small and this area is going to be pretty big, and I can always expand this like this. If it turns out that this is getting big enough where some things need a scroll bar, I can just make it a little bit bigger. Lots of real estate here on the screen. And then this would automatically just, you know, scale to fit over there. It'd be responsive. Yeah, I'm going to try that next. Oh, I'm going to try that next. There's so many cool icons. Do I have any cool icons? There we go. All right, so I'm going to do this, but I think I'm done streaming for right now. And what I want to do next is go get something to eat and then go maybe do a little gardening. I got some weeds and some bushes I need to chop down. And then I'll work on this some more tonight. So thank you all very much for hanging out while I struggled through this. UI work is not my favorite, but being here with you guys helped motivate me to work on it, doing the streaming, you know, with you. So thank you very much. Thank you for everybody who followed. Thank you for the new subscribers. Appreciate it all very much. And yeah, check in again soon. If you're new to the game, gravityace.com. It's available on Steam Early Access right now. Go to gravityace.com. You can see links to all the things. And I'll see you guys soon. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good weekend.